Good evening, Black people and all allies fighting for Black liberation, Black prosperity, and Black joy. I'm Charles Blow, and welcome to Prime. The clock is ticking, and a deadline is looming, and Democrats scrambled on Capitol Hill today over a potential new plan to draw more moderate Democratic support for the president's climate and spending package. According to the latest reports, Democrats have reached an agreement on a corporate minimum tax as a potential revenue generator to pay for Biden's social spending package, a package that could now have a price tag around $2 trillion. Perhaps most consequential is that it seems to have the support of both Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin. Sinema tweeted this earlier today. This proposal represents a common sense step towards ensuring that highly profitable corporations, which sometimes can avoid the current corporate tax rate, pay a reasonable minimum corporate tax on their profits. The minimum corporate tax would create a 15% minimum tax on profits to shareholders and would apply to about 200 companies that report more than $1 billion in profits. Senators who offered up the proposal, like Elizabeth Warren and Ron Wyden, say it could raise as much as $400 billion over 10 years. Wyden, chairman of the Senate Finance Committee, is expected to release details of a second potential revenue proposal tomorrow called the billionaire's tax. This would tax billionaires' investment gains annually. All that as Democrats are also reportedly working behind the scenes to include a range of immigration provisions in the bill. The Washington Post reported one option under discussion is a plan to provide protected status that stops short of a path to citizenship. Another, which is seen by some of the people with knowledge of the situation as something of a placeholder, is to include a proposal that would enable immigrants who arrived in the United States before 2010 to apply for a green card. So, will Democrats be able to reach a deal on all this before Biden sets off to Europe for the G20 summit later this week? Joining me now to discuss is President of Solidarity Strategies, Chuck Rocha, and senior political reporter at The Insider, John Dorman. So, Chuck, what do you think of these strategies to pay for Biden's spending plan?
I think it's something that you see, Charles, and thanks for having me, that you see is pretty popular. As I've been working on campaigns around the country, there's an undertow out there of where people, working class folks, lots of people of color feel like that corporation and rich people get a break that they don't get. We always have to pay our taxes. If we don't pay our taxes, they'll come get some of our stuff. But if you're a rich person and you can fly to the moon or go up into outer space, you don't have to pay any taxes because you can play shell games with your money and take a loan out on this thing and not pay a dividend on that stocks. And regular folks out there are really getting tired of it. So I think this is smart because everyone right now at home feels like they are getting an undue fair shake as those people over there with the money get away with lots of things. So I think this is a good way to pay for it. And I think it's politically astute because Democrats are doing things that the American people want, which is to get them things, get them services, what their tax money is going for, while making sure that rich people pay their fair share.
But John, is it that simple? Because this is a tax on corporations, not on individual wealth tax, right? So one could, you could extrapolate to say that if the company had to pay more in taxes, there'd be less money to give to the CEO. I guess you could say it that way. But there are a lot of people who have tremendous wealth, and it's not, necessarily coming from an individual company and as a salary or whatever. So is it really going to do what the public really wants to see, which is to have, as Chuck was saying, to have the rich guys pay just like the people who are struggling and working, the hourly shift?
Well, Charles, thank you again for having me on the show. I think we'll have to see exactly how that pans out. I think the bigger issue is that Democrats were able to, if they're going to be able to come together on this particular bill, this is a breakthrough for Kirsten Sinema and for Joe Manchin. If they are able to work with other parts of this particular reconciliation bill, That framework would be, these are things that, despite Joe Manchin's conservatism and despite Kirsten Sinema's moderation, this will be, again, a really big breakthrough in terms of, this is a Democratic Party mantra of making sure that, people are paying their fair share of taxes. I think this particular plan will go a long way towards that. And for them to have come to an agreement on this minimum is a really big step. So we'll have to see exactly how it pans out over the next phase.
So, Chuck, I want to ask you something about this billionaire's tax that I just don't quite understand. If you can you create a law that taxes unrealized gains, does that also put you in a position where you must also give refund checks for unrealized losses, right? So if I'm holding a lot of stock and it drops that year, that is an unrealized loss. Is the government going to be in that situation where we might be sending refund checks to these guys?
Well, I certainly hope not, but I think you raised a brilliant point, which is if there's going to be a law that makes sure that rich folks or corporations has to pay their fair share, I guarantee you they're going to try to make an alternative law that makes sure that they have an out where they don't have to pay this law. And I think you just gave one example of how that could happen. What you have out there in America in lots of places are many individuals like myself, lots of people of color who own their own businesses that have LLCs that are not taxed, to your point, in a corporation route, but in their individual status. And the individual status, to your point, never really changes. So this is just a small little sliver of something that they must have gotten through, because the real problem is working folks who may want to start a small business like I have, are paying an individual rate even though they own a company. I have 8 employees and I'm taxed at the individual rate, and none of this is going to help me. I've still got to pay as many taxes, and I live in DC. So on top of my federal income taxes, I'm paying another 10% local tax. So I think the point that you're getting at is well received, and I think people kind of understand that. That's why we see this as a bare minimum.
So John, I want to ask you on the other issue about immigration, right? So the Senate parliamentarian already said you can't include it, so somehow they're figuring out a way to include it again. What do you think about the provisions that are at least being reported on as possible inclusions?
I think the bigger thing, especially for these immigration bills, for years there has been, an emphasis on having a pathway to citizenship. So if they're able to have some type of protected status, something for temporary workers, I think that would be incredibly a big thing. Again, like you said, with the Senate parliamentarian did rule that I know Democrats wanted to have a larger pathway to citizenship. I know that was something that had, before, that used to be a bipartisan thing where that was something that what members of Congress wanted to work on. And of course it stalled. So I think in many ways, when you look at exactly what they're trying to do now, I would pay attention to exactly what they have planned for those temporary workers, and how they're going to, potentially on the line have a more comprehensive bill. Because I know that that's what a lot of lawmakers want, even many Republicans, despite a lot of the pressure and a lot of the things that are going on now at the border, in terms of, President Joe Biden being criticized, of the influx of migrants. So we'll see in the next few days, what exactly it will come together from the parties.
So, Chuck, one of the big things the Republicans worry about is loss of voting power, as they don't want these people to eventually be able to vote, and loss of heritage, right? So they don't want to be overtaken by Hispanics coming into the country. So it's hard for me to see how they would ever be on board with any of this. Even if you allow people to stay in the country, the moment that they have a child, that child is an American citizen. That is part of what they are constantly fighting against. And they want no pathway to citizenship, because a pathway to citizenship is also a pathway to being able to go in and cast a ballot. So how do you push that through?
I think that you bring up a great point, and I think this is why you see the Democrats doing what they're doing through reconciliation, because they could do this with 50 votes in the Senate and with the majority in the House. We have such slim majorities in both. To John's point earlier, Sinema and Manchin would have to be on board with this, but we really wouldn't need any Republicans to be on board to get this passed. The parliamentarian has set us back, us being us in the immigration rights activist community that I've been in for over 30 years. And so they're trying to get what they can get through with just Democratic votes, because at the end of the day, Charles, we know this, that this immigration issue has been used as a political football, sometimes by both parties. But what I'm hearing out in the field right now is people are super duper aggravated about getting pulled back and forth. Latinos delivered this presidency to many of these Democrats, including Joe Biden, and they want to see something done now. They're tired of being used as a political football or a pawn. And all of these are real people's lives. This was my grandparents' life who came here from Guanajuato, Mexico. Now I own a small business here in Washington, D.C. We don't mind getting in line, but there's no line to get into. We need to fix this once and for all.
So, John, I have about a minute left, but I'm just curious about how likely you think it is that Sinema and Manchin would, in fact, get on board with this. I'm not exactly clear on what their positions about pathways to citizenship.
Well, that's the thing, Charles. I think for Sinema, it may be a hard sell because she has, worked with Republicans in terms of, well, she also has criticized Joe Biden in terms of issues that are going on at the border. And I also feel like Joe Manchin may not think that reconciliation is the appropriate way to get that particular thing passed, even though Democrats could do that and, of course, bypass Republicans. So we'll have to see. But like you said, they're going to be the key factors. Most of the other caucuses on board with most of these proposals. So we're going to have to wait and see exactly if they think that reconciliation would be the most efficient way to do this.
Chuck Rocha and John Dorman, stay right there. We're going to have you back in the next segment to talk about redistricting in battleground states.